kind of animal are you?
The Boys and Gen V are both set in the same universe, made by the same team, airing on the same platform. But why does one feel like a masterpiece of chaos and the other like a failed spin-off experiment? The answer has nothing to do with budget, scope, or even the quality of the original show. It comes down to three fundamental rules of storytelling. The Boys understood it perfectly, while Gen V completely missed it. Let me show you.
Hey, y'all, come look at this.
When The Boys dropped on Amazon Prime back in 2019, it was like someone finally said what we were all thinking. What if superheroes were actually terrible people? Not charmingly flawed, not struggling with great responsibility. I'm talking corporate-sponsored, PR-managed, morally bankrupt disasters in capes. Homelander. Think Superman if Superman was raised by a focus group and had the emotional stability of a toddler with laser eyes. The show was brutal, visceral, darkly hilarious. It was a bold jab to every Marvel movie that made you cry over a talking tree. And people? They ate it up. Fast forward to 2023. Eric Kripke and the team were riding high, so they launched Gen V, a spin-off set at Godolphin University. Basically Hogwarts for soups, but with more body horror and way less magic. The pitch? Euphoria with superpowers. On paper? Genius. In execution? Well, we need to talk. The first storytelling rule the Boys understood from day one was that stakes matter. The opening scene of the series isn't some gentle world building. It's Huey's girlfriend literally exploding through his hands because A-Train, a speedster who's basically the Flash on an adrenaline rush, runs through her in one of the show's most shocking moments. You don't come back from that. You don't forgive. You don't move on. And suddenly, you're invested. But here's where The Boys gets brilliant. It's not just about payback. It gives you complexity. Homelander isn't just evil. He's a product of corporate manipulation and desperate need for approval. Butcher isn't just the hero. He's willing to become the monster he hates to win. Huey starts as your audience surrogate, normal guy in over his head, and slowly loses pieces of himself. By season 4, this show pulled in over 55 million global viewers. It became the most in-demand superhero series on the planet. Why? Because it never let you get comfortable. Every time you think you know where it's going, the show hits you with something wild, or a beloved character makes a choice that makes you scream at your screen. Rule number 2. Tone and satire only work when they serve the story. And The Boys gets that. Vought International isn't subtle. They're literally Disney meets Lockheed Martin. Soups aren't heroes, they're products, action figures, quarterly earnings reports. The show looks at our celebrity worship, our corporate culture, our political circus, and says, yeah, this is basically superhero with better PR. Critics gave it a 93% on Rotten Tomatoes. But more importantly, people couldn't stop talking about it. That's the secret sauce. Quality writing, characters you actually care about, and satire that punches you in the throat while making you laugh. Now, let's talk about Gen V. When Gen V launched, the potential was there. College-aged soups competing for contracts, dealing with trauma, navigating identity and power, all while Vought pulls the strings. Fresh cast, diverse perspectives, a chance to explore the ground level of this universe while The Boys handles the big leagues. Season 1 got a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes from critics. Audiences were less enthusiastic. 5.9 out of 10 on Metacritic user scores. That's not terrible, but it's not, I need to tell everyone about this either. The cracks were already showing. Characters felt more like archetypes than people. The college drama tropes sometimes felt heavy-handed, like the show couldn't decide if it wanted to be a serious exploration of youth and power or just The Boys but edgier. And the emotional stakes? They weren't landing the same way. Anyone could be gone in the show and you wouldn't really be sad. Oof, that's the opposite of what you want. But okay, Season 1 stumbles are forgivable, growing pains, finding your voice. Then came Season 2, and this is where things get messy. On the surface, it looks fine. 90% on Rotten Tomatoes from critics. But if you actually watch it, you would notice the season felt rushed, fragmented. Like someone took a complete story, tore out random pages, and hoped you wouldn't notice. Characters made decisions that don't track. Major plot threads got introduced and then nothing. No payoff, no resolution. Just, hey, here's a new villain, and also everything's escalating now. Here's what happened behind the scenes. Chance Perdomo, who played Andre Anderson, tragically died in a motorcycle accident. The writers decided not to recast. Honorable choice. But that meant completely rewriting Season 2 mid-production. And you could feel it. Andre's death barely registers. There's like 2 scenes of grief, and then everyone just moves on. Marie, who should be processing this massive loss, instead gets a villain arc that feels like it teleports from point A to point Z. No journey, just plot. That's devastating. Because you know what the boys never did? Break rule number 3. Sacrifice character for plot. Even in its messiest moments, you understood why people were making choices. Here, it's just things happening because the script says so. Let me break down the fundamental difference. The Boys is a tightly wound narrative machine. Every season builds on the last. Butcher's vendetta becomes a moral crisis. Homelander's mask slips, revealing the monster beneath. Huey loses his innocence. Starlight finds her strength. These aren't just character moments, they're arcs. They have momentum. Gen V Season 2 felt like it was reacting to itself, throwing things at the wall. What if we did this? What if that happened? Without asking, what does this mean for who these people are? And the satire. Remember how sharp The Boys is? How it skewers corporate greed, celebrity culture with surgical precision. Gen V tries, it really does, but it ends up feeling like a parody of a parody. The jabs land softer. The commentary got muddled under shock value and raunchiness. It's not that it was bad, it was just not essential. You could skip episodes and not feel like you're missing the conversation. For every inspired sequence, there's another that feels forced. For every sharp cultural jab, there's one that lands with a thud. Here's the thing that gets me. You can feel what Gen V wants to be. It wants to explore identity, power abuse, the pressure of being young and commodified and expected to perform. These are rich themes, important themes, but it doesn't give itself room to breathe. It's too busy being shocking, being edgy, being euphoria with superheroes that it forgets to be human. The Boys works because underneath all the gore and satire and spectacle, it's about people. Flawed, damaged, trying their best and failing people. You root for them even when they're wrong. You understand them even when they're monsters. Gen V's characters in Season 2? They're there. They do things. But do you care? Do you text your friends after an episode like, "Oh my God, did you see what Marie did?" The Metacritic user score for Season 2 is 5.5 out of 10. Half the reviews were negative. Reddit threads are full of people saying they skipped to episode 7 just to see how it ends and connects to the final season of The Boys. That's not a show, that's homework. So what's the lesson here? Here's the brutal truth about spin-offs. They have to justify their existence. You can't just be more of the thing people liked. You need your own identity, your own stakes, your own reason to exist beyond brand extension. And you definitely can't assume the goodwill from the parent show will carry you forever. Gen V walked into every trap. It leaned too hard on shock value instead of substance. It assumed we'd care about characters without earning that investment. It tried to capture The Boys' tone without understanding why that tone worked. The satire in The Boys isn't there for its own sake. It's there because the characters are living in that satirical nightmare. And when things got tough, when real-world tragedy disrupted production, the show didn't have a strong enough foundation to adapt. The seams showed, the structure crumbled. Meanwhile, The Boys just kept doing what it does best. Escalating, complicating, making you uncomfortable while making you think. You know what's wild? This isn't just about 2 shows. This is about how we build universes now. Marvel does it, Star Wars does it. Every successful show gets a spin-off, a prequel, an expanded universe. And sometimes it works. Better Call Saul is arguably as good as Breaking Bad. Sometimes you get The Mandalorian, carrying an entire franchise, but more often, you get dilution. You get content instead of storytelling. You get shows that exist because someone thought, hey, people like this world, let's just make more stuff in it. Gen V proves that's not enough. You need more than a setting. You need vision, discipline, and the courage to let characters breathe instead of just moving them around like chess pieces. So here's where we are. The Boys is still going strong, preparing for its final season, having cemented itself as one of the defining shows of this era. A show that proved you can be brutal and brilliant, entertaining and insightful. Gen V is, well, it exists. It has fans, it has potential. But Season 2 revealed something crucial. Potential isn't enough. You have to execute. You have to give people a reason to invest beyond, well, I liked The Boys. The tragedy isn't that Gen V is terrible, it's that you can see what it could have been. A genuinely fresh take on youth and power and identity in this universe. Instead, it's a cautionary tale about what happens when you mistake shock for substance and expansion for evolution. And maybe, just maybe, that's the most valuable lesson of all. So what's the worst spin-off you've ever seen? Or better yet, which one actually worked? Let me hear from you in the comments. And while you're down there, hit that like and subscribe button for more breakdowns. Thanks for watching.